right, excellent. So we have Tyler Ray here on, and Tyler, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in MMA. Give us a little background on who you are.
All right, so name's Tyler Ray. I'm 26 years old. I went professional in MMA 2 years ago, but I've been fighting and involved in MMA since I was about 14 years old. I had my first fight when I was 15, Arnold Classic in Columbus, Ohio, and so yeah, I pretty much got involved with it. Me and my dad were just watching the UFC on TV one night, and I was like, I want to try that out. At the time, I had played hockey, so I asked him if I could go do MMA for cross training for hockey. And then from there on, I pretty much fell in love with it. And a couple years later, I ended up quitting hockey altogether and went full time in MMA and started wrestling my freshman year of high school. Never really had any intention of going to college for wrestling or for school. I was just gonna go pro in MMA and I wanted to become a firefighter at the time. And then my senior year, I started getting recruited for wrestling. So I ended up going to college for 4 more years of wrestling, and where I got a degree in biology, minor in exercise science. And then from there, I went to a jiu-jitsu tournament in Las Vegas and ended up getting recruited by one of the guys that was on the Black Stallions, which is a team that used to be down here. They're no longer the team anymore, but his name's Tyrone Spong. And he asked me to come down for basically like a week tryout. And after that week, they to have me move down here and do it full time. So I signed a contract with them. And the day after I graduated college, my car was packed up and my wife and I moved down here, and we've been here ever since.
Cool. So you got a fight coming up, right? So tell us about that. Who are you fighting? What weight class? Give us a few details about that date. So
I will be fighting on April 26th for LFA, which is Legacy Fighting Alliance, and that is going to be in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's going to be live on Access TV, and my opponent's name is Sam Garrett. And that's next Friday actually. So.
All right, so you're a week and a day.
A week and a day. A week from today, I weigh in. Fight night is on Friday.
All right, so tell us a little bit about your weigh-in and how that goes, how you prepare for that, and then kind of that critical time in between the time you step off the scale and to when you get to the arena, and how you use it.
So when you go pro in MMA, it's the day before weigh-in, and it's usually at least 24 hours more. This one's actually more. So we weigh in at 2 o'clock out there is what the schedule says as of now. Sometimes it's a little bit earlier. So we weigh in at 2, and then I'll fight the next day, and the main card starts at 9. So I've got about 31 hours between when I step on the scale to when I fight to rehydrate, carb up, be refueled. So it's crucial because a lot of people think the weight cut is done within the 2 days of when you're out there. But I've been cutting weight for 2.5 weeks already. And before that, I spent 5 weeks just cleaning my diet up, eating the right foods, making sure my body's in the scene of what it's going to be eating and how to refuel properly and everything, cleaning up and cutting all the crap out of my diet and stuff. So this has really been like an 8-week weight cut, where the last 2.5 weeks have been the strict regimen of eat this at this time of the day. And so like where Vitargo comes in for me is I'll drink it before, during, and after practices when I'm not in my super hard part of the weight cut, because I'm able to refuel and rehydrate and carb up so much faster than any other thing I can find for my next practices that day, that it's literally been a game changer for me. And then so as soon as I step off the scale next week on Thursday, the first thing I drink is 2 scoops of Vitargo, and then I'll get in like some electrolytes, coconut water, and stuff like that. Once my stomach's feeling like everything's moving and stuff, I'll take 2 more scoops of Vitargo, and I'll continue to do that throughout the day. Maybe next week I'll probably end up having up to between 8 to 10 scoops of Vitargo. I know that's an excess amount, like to the average person, but I'm reintroducing carbohydrates back into my system. And by the end of the day, I want to be able to eat like some food carbohydrates, like pasta or some bread and stuff. And if you try and throw that into your system right after the scale, it messes your stomach up because you're so dehydrated and stuff that your body can't properly digest it and absorb it. And I had that case happen to me 2 fights ago. Stepped off the scale, chugged a bunch of coconut water and electrolyte, sugary drinks, and then tried to eat a bunch of like rice and pasta. And my stomach was like 4 hours. I couldn't eat or drink anything. I was curled up in a ball on my hotel bed, and it messed up the whole process of rehydrating. I just mentally messed me up and all that stuff. So it ended up being a whole bad botched weight cut. So when like my last fight, when I start introducing Vitargo, and by the end of the day, I'm able to eat whole foods, real foods, and my body digests it and uses it rather than messing my stomach up. And it's all thanks to being able to get the easy digested carbs in me.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I got to watch your last fight online. I think it was against Seth. Is that right? From Omaha, my home.
Yeah.
And you're an animal in the ring, right? And so I'm wondering, you're an animal like a Wolverine. I'm wondering, is that how you got your name? Or
no, that's actually the nickname Wolverine is actually a whole nother crazy story in itself. Is a lot of people don't know about me is 2 years ago when I went pro, I had always just had this cough that just lingered all the time, and I never really knew what was going on. My family had sent me to doctors, and me and my wife and my family had just come to the assumption that I had asthma or something. And it was to the point where I would almost get bronchitis once a month, if not every month. And that went on for 2 years. And last year, on December 31st of 2017, I went for a 3-mile run with my wife, couldn't even finish it, and having pain down the left side of my body. And so I walked home, we ate dinner, and I kept getting terrible pains. And I was like, we took Tums thinking that I was having indigestion or something. So went to bed just being naive and woke up at like 4 a.m. on January 1st last year, and the worst pain I've been in my life. So called my wife, because I was sleeping in our guest bedroom, because I would wake up every single night soaked in sweat, and which is obviously not normal. Should have been warning signs ahead of time, but I just got so used to it, I dealt with it. And so I didn't want to bother her sleep, so I was in the guest bedroom. I called her over, told her to take me to the hospital. We went in, they did tests on me. They said I had pneumonia, but I had pneumonia 2 years prior to that. And they're like, there's no way a 25-year-old at your health and the physical like that you're in, you shouldn't be getting pneumonia this like 2 times in a row like this. So they did more tests, ended up getting, they found that I had an empyema, which is fluid buildup in your pleural cavity. So then they said, I'm going to have to get surgery on that. So they ended up draining 1.12 liters out of my pleural cavity of fluid buildup. Then they went and did a bronchoscopy and a scope. Yeah, they scoped, and they found that I had a non-cancerous, it's called a carcinoid, a non-cancerous tumor in my left bronchial, and it had grown so big that it was blocking 70% of my airway, and my left lung was decreased down to 30% capacity. And I had been trying to fight and train at the highest level with all these fighters for 2 years, just coughing. I was always coughing stuff up, and sometimes just coughing, couldn't get anything out, which is obviously because it was in my pleural cavity, not my lungs. But they said the infection had gotten so bad that it just like basically constricted my lung down to like 30%. So they ended up, I had to get two chest tubes put in. I had those in until February 13th of last year. And the whole time, well, before that happened, they did the surgery that led to the chest tube. He said it was supposed to be a 30-minute procedure, ended up being 2 hours and 45 minutes. And my dad said when the surgeon came out, he said, if you guys would have waited one more day, he was going to die. Like my lung, it was starting to shut down other organs around me. So they said that I had waited so long that it got so bad that I was 24 hours to 36 hours away from dying. And that was like a real shocker to us. So I wake up with chest tubes in, and obviously my first thing is, when can I fight again? How long is this process going to take me to heal up and get back in the cage? And the doctors kept telling me, they're like, honestly, we don't know if you're ever going to be able to fight again. Like, your lung is so scarred that it might not ever return to normal, and just telling me all these things. And I had my mindset, I was like, no, I'm going to fight again. I'm going to be back to 100% normal. So I texted my manager and found out that there was a fight card on April 20th. And I told him, I said, I want to fight on that card. And I just set my mind on it. Like, that's when I'm going to fight. The doctor's like, there's no way you're going to be ready to fight by then. So they took the chest tubes out February 13th. And I fought April 20th. And when I went back for my follow-up, the doctor said that it was one of the fastest recoveries they've ever seen. They don't know, like, my lung made a full, and they called me Wolverine because I healed so fast. So it kind of just stuck, and I ran with it ever since then. And he's always been one of my favorite superheroes and stuff. So it was like, it was just something that I had mentally set myself on. I was getting back in the cage on that date. And with my faith and the unbelievable amount of support that I had, I made it happen, and that's where the nickname came from.
Whoa, that's amazing. Whoa, that's an amazing happening. So so MMA is like nothing now. If you went through that,
It's like that's funny thing is, like, now I get in the cage and it's like I mean, you obviously get the nerves and a little bit of scared stuff, but it's like I face death, so I'm not afraid of anybody that's going to stand across me in that cage. I respect them all, but I've already beaten death, so I mean, bring it on.
Kidding.
I don't care. It's just a fight.
Kidding. Well, okay, so that's incredible, awesome. So we're just going to talk just briefly about what we got coming in the next week from now until you get on the scale. We're going to do you're going to do a takeover. So you're going to take over our social media, and we're going to do a live takeover where you're going to be on Instagram on the Vitargo account after you get off that scale, talking about what's going on with you. So so people can reach you website on what's your Instagram handle?
It's Wolverine_170.
Okay, so people can get to you there. We're at Vitargo, so go to vitargo.com and you can link up with Tyler on there. You can subscribe so you get a notification of when the live event's going to be, and then you can also watch it right on accesstv.com.
It'll be on Access TV. It's on cable, actually. So I don't know if every provider has it, but some companies do, some don't. So it's one of those channels that might come with your package or not. I know a lot of sports bars and stuff usually have it.
Okay, so if people go to vitargo.com, they can see all the particulars about when you're fighting. We'll do a live event with you the day before, and then hopefully you'll come back and talk to us after, give us a little fight recap.
I'd love to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And people can go to our site, support you. There's a code on there, Wolverine15. So let's give Tyler some support, buy a couple pubs, get out there and train hard. And we're going to give some of the proceeds back to you, Tyler, to support you. And we're going to keep our eye on you. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Anything else you want to send us off with, or we'll just be talking to you as it gets closer? And I know you got a lot on your plate. You got to get off to recovery right now. You're doing some kind of
cryotherapy. I do cryotherapy, full body cryotherapy for inflammation and stuff.
All right. Well,
that's it. That's all I have. That's all I had to say, and I appreciate all your guys' support and help that you're doing for me. And it speaks volumes, because at the level that I'm at right now, an up and comer, it's hard for people to put their name behind me because I don't necessarily have hundreds of thousands of followers, or I'm not in the UFC yet. It's just all about believing in what I'm saying and the support. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah. So give Tyler some love on Instagram. Follow him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.